So close to getting a very, very creditable 2-1 defeat, which you kind of feel would have given us a great chance in that home leg. But are you glass half empty or are you glass half full still? Has Nuno Mendes' goal crushed Aston Villa's hopes of progressing to the final stages, the semi-final of the Champions League? Yes, it was PSG 3, Aston Villa 1. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, help us on the road to 6,000 subscribers, and get your comments in. Do you still feel like we have a chance at Villa Park? PSG are an absolutely fantastic side. They play such good football on the ball, but they also are so good off the ball, winning the ball back quickly, getting back on the attack as quickly as possible, and they are absolutely relentless. And they were relentless tonight, and Villa tried and tried and tried. They got blocks in, they got tackles in, they kept their shape. But it's so difficult to do that when there's such movement in front of you, when you're trying to get on the attack and they win the ball back and they get back on the attack so quickly. It is just so difficult. But yeah, we're still in there. We're still in there. We can do something against them next week. We just have to stay in the game. But let's get into it. Villa started off with Emi Martinez in goal, Matty Cash at right back, Ezri Konsa, Pau Torres at centre back, Luka Dean left back, Boubacar Kamara and Yuri Tillemans as that central midfield in front of the defence, McGinn just in front of them, Jacob Ramsey and Morgan Rogers in front, and Marcus Rashford up top. And to be honest with you, it was more like a 4-5-1 when we were kind of moving with the ball forward. Rogers and Ramsey would try and get up to support Rashford, and same with McGinn as well. But a lot of the time when we were on the defence, Kamara would drop into that back four to make it a back five, and we'd try and be as compact as possible, stop those gaps in behind, and I guess try and restrict PSG to as little or as difficult chances as possible. And we did really do that, to be honest with you. There wasn't too many opportunities in the opening sort of 20 minutes or so. Villa contained PSG as much as they could, but you could see the possession that Paris Saint-Germain were having. Vitinha dominating it in that midfield, doing really well and rotating that midfield so well as they do in that midfield with Neves and Ruiz. And you could see them getting territory further and further forward. Aston Villa were trying to look a little bit of a threat with Rashford, trying to get running with Ramsey and see if we could get bodies forward. But it was on 7 minutes, we had an effort from Dembele that Martinez managed to tip over. Again, on 22 minutes, another effort, which from the edge of the box, Vitinha just narrowly over. But that was really it. And it was on 35 minutes that Villa took the lead through that man again, Morgan Rogers. He is the man for the big occasion. Ball won back by John McGinn so well on our right-hand side. And then he picks the ball up, carries, drives it forward, looks to his left, sees Marcus Rashford in space, plays him in. Yuri Tillemans is backing him up. He goes round on the overlap. Rashford plays it into him. We've got men in the box. He lays it across the box. And there's Morgan Rogers there to put it away. And it was a great goal. And on 35 minutes, you're thinking, right, just keep it to half-time. We've got that goal. We've got that vital goal that we've needed and we've wanted. Just keep it to half-time. But unfortunately, we couldn't do that. And it was Doué who scored a fantastic goal just 4 minutes later. Fed the ball by Nuno Mendes on that left-hand side. He cuts inside Morgan Rogers, who doesn't quite get close enough. He probably could do better. Tries to push him off balance, but he manages to get the shot with his right foot. right into that top corner, in off the underside of the bar to make it 1-1. And yeah, they go into half time at 1-1. Matty Cash had to come off at half time. Probably doesn't want to be risked. He was on a yellow card, but I felt he was doing quite well. And I worried about Axel Disasi against Kvaratskhelia. And he was the main man in that second half. And you're just thinking, just keep it tight for that first 10 minutes of that second half. But unfortunately, we couldn't do it. And on 49 minutes, Kvaratskhelia picks up the ball on that left-hand side with fantastic skill, cuts inside Disasi, and then he drags it back across his body with the sole of his foot, and then smashes a shot with his left foot in at the near post, in off the post. Maybe Emi Martinez could have done better, but it was a great finish and just fantastic skill from him. And he makes it 2-1 to PSG. And Villa, to their credit, kept in the game. Obviously, they're going to have to give up territory. Obviously, that PSG are going to have a lot of the ball, and it just carried on like that. They were probing down the right, probing down the left, but Villa were getting blocks in. Maybe if we're to be really critical, we could have done more with the ball when we got it. We panicked a little bit because we were starved of that ball in that second half. I felt like we panicked a bit, trying to maybe look calm and collected, but we kind of rushed the passes, or we underhit the passes, or we didn't have any conviction with the pass that we were trying to make. And that was sometimes the problem with us trying and not being able to get out from our defensive position. We made another substitution on 58 minutes. Jacob Ramsey coming off for Marco Asensio, and it was actually Marco Asensio who had a pretty good effort with about 25 minutes to go. We managed to get the ball forward. Luca Dean plays the ball in for Rodgers, who runs with the ball, and then plays it, little pass into Asensio, who then curls an effort with his left foot, and it just takes a deflection and just goes wide of the post. And that would have been a really great moment. And we had maybe one or two other little half chances. Onana had a header from a long throw-in, and that just hit the side netting. Morgan Rogers had an effort where he maybe could have played someone else in, but he turned on the ball off a pass from Maatsen. At this stage, Maatsen, Onana and Watkins had come on, but he blazed it over. And at that moment, you think, right, just take that 2-1. Just take that 2-1 back to Villa Park, because we are well in the tie. And I felt like we just took our foot off the gas. We just maybe relaxed for that 30 seconds because PSG were kind of just popping the ball about, not really doing a lot, maybe lulling Aston Villa into a false sense of security. And that is when they struck. And on 92 minutes, it was Dembele who got the ball, who came off the defenders and saw Nuno Mendes making that diagonal run. He plays him in, and Mendes does fantastically well. Ezri Konsa goes in for the tackle. He cuts inside him. Martinez goes down as well, and then he just lifts, nice lift into the top corner of the net. Emi Martinez trying his best to block it, but he couldn't do it, and they take a 3-1 lead into that second leg next week. Now, as I said at the start, are you glass half empty or are you glass half full? Has that scuppered our chances of doing anything in the second leg? How will we approach it next week? Do we go for it? Do we make it, do we just go all guns blazing into that match? I don't think we can. I think we've got to be really sensible, because PSG will play the same way. They will try and keep possession. They will try and win the ball back as soon as we get it. We've obviously got to try and attack more. We've obviously got to try and carry more threat. We've got to take our chances when we get the opportunity. And then we've got to be so defensively disciplined. We've got to ride our luck at times. But I feel like we've got to put a bit more pressure on them. I feel like we didn't press their midfield enough. McGinn was the one pressing. I think Tielemans maybe could have done a little bit more. I think Kamara was maybe preoccupied with trying to drop into that defence. I think we've got to really press and push on them. And then we've got to get bodies up for, the likes of Rashford if he's starting. We've got to maybe get Morgan Rogers on the ball a little bit more, because he can cause damage. Rashford, when he got into opportunities down that left-hand channel or that right-hand channel, was causing them problems. It was just that we couldn't necessarily get the bodies up to help him. We couldn't necessarily give him the opportunity to have a shot. PSG blocked him out, and there was a couple of times where he did get that ball on that left-hand side, but Doué or Kvaratskhelia got back. And that is something that PSG wouldn't have done 3 or 4 years ago with the likes of Neymar or Mbappe. But now they are an extremely hard-working side, and they're definitely the best side in this competition right now. And it is a real difficult task for Aston Villa to get through and to get the win that's required. But you just never know. An early goal at Villa Park, the crowd have to raise themselves for this occasion. Yes, we didn't get absolutely battered. We could have got battered. Barcelona have beaten Borussia Dortmund tonight 4-0. That's over. You know, we talked about the Real Madrid game last night with Arsenal. Arsenal are 3-0 up going to the Bernabeu. That is a ridiculous task for Real Madrid, and people are saying it's possible for Real Madrid to do it. Yes, I know Real Madrid are the holders of this competition, hugely experienced, a special night at the Bernabeu and all that kind of stuff. But we can make it a special night at Villa Park. We can put pressure on them. We can win that game. Newcastle beat them 4-1, albeit with a much different side and a different system. But we can do it. We just have to be sensible. The fans have to make it a special night, and Villa have to take their chances when they arise. If we can get an early goal, we can put them under pressure, and then anything can happen. But it's just so disappointing. It's so gutting to have conceded that goal in the 92nd minute, because you feel like 2-1, we had a lot to cling on to and a lot to go into it. It's just going to be that much more difficult at Villa Park, because there's always the opportunity that they will score with the quality that they have going forward. But to get to this stage, to be competing in the quarterfinals of the Champions League is an absolutely fantastic. We now turn our attention to Southampton on Saturday. We must get the win there to keep the pressure on now that 5th position is definitely a Champions League spot. We've got to keep that going in the league, and then take the confidence from that into the game next Tuesday against PSG at Villa Park. And as I said, it has got to be a special atmosphere. I thought some performances were good. I thought John McGinn was good. I think he really tried, and he really put the effort in with his tackles, and he was he was the catalyst for that first goal. I thought he worked hard. I thought Rodgers was a threat at all times. He had to really work hard down, mainly at right back, to be honest, and trying to back up. I'd like to see him maybe a bit more threatening in that second leg. I thought Kamara was good in that second half. I thought Ezri Konsa was good. Obviously got turned for the last goal, but I thought him and Torres were excellent in terms of reading the game. I thought Luca Dean was fantastic against both wingers. He did really well, and considering he was on a yellow card from the previous game, I thought he did well. But it was a back-to-the-wall performance. Emi Martinez obviously was fantastic, made some really good saves, made a one that looked like he made a mistake, actually, but he saved it onto the post and then managed to claw it back as it was just about to go over the line. So Emi Martinez had an excellent game, and he kept the score to 3-1. Maybe he could have done better with that second goal, but as I say, it was a great strike from Kvaratskhelia. But look, we're still in it. That's the main thing. Can we do it next week? You let me know your thoughts in the comments. We'll be back with match preview for Southampton, maybe some more reflection on this game tomorrow night. But make sure you stay tuned to the channel, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, help us on the road to 6K. Thank you for watching, and as always, remember, we'll follow.